Ahead at 5, as the temperatures stay brutally cold, one organization is trying to help those without a home, a nonprofit that is saving lives with essential supplies.
Then shocking video of the moment a woman falls through the ice and her rescue.
And President Trump has signed a flurry of executive orders, the immediate impacts and challenges from the state of Wisconsin.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with us at 5, everybody. Let's start with the weather. Bone-chilling cold today. Schools are off. Kids have a snow day. Alex is inside. Yeah. Wise choice.
Smartly.
Yes, smartly. Yes. Hi, Alex.
Hey there. Yeah, until this cold weather, until this bitterly cold temperatures finally get out of southern Wisconsin, I will be in here and not out on the polar patio. We still have alert day conditions that we're expecting wind chills as cold as -20 through at least Wednesday morning. We have cold weather advisories that are in effect at least until midnight. They could be extended a little bit longer and take us into the Wednesday morning time frame. Regardless, it's going to be bitterly cold one more morning here for southern Wisconsin. Right now, the actual wind chill out there is -12 in Madison, -18 in Janesville, -16 in the Dells, -16 in Wautoma. The actual air temperatures, that's important as well. It's 0. That's as warm as we've gotten all day in Madison. 0 in Janesville, but still below 0, -2 in the Dells. Here in Dane County, we got a 1 in Waunakee, 0 in Stoughton, and 2 to the southwest in Belleville. And let's plan our evening. Temperatures hovering right around 0. We'll actually see our overnight low temperature right around midnight with those wind chills again between -10, -20 below 0 across southern Wisconsin. So we'll carry that alert day heading through at least Wednesday a.m. Coming up in Maine weather, though, we'll track the return of warmer weather. And with that warmer weather, there's a little bit of snow we need to track for Wednesday. That's coming up.
All right, Alex, thank you. These freezing cold temperatures can be a reminder for how lucky it is simply to have a warm place to call home.
Our Merrill Hubbard spent the morning out in the -11-degree weather to see how a local nonprofit is helping those who are experiencing housing insecurity.
Everyone's doing what they can to get out of this cold, but not everyone has a comfortable place to stay and keep warm. That's where friends of the State Street family step in to help.
Today, we are doing emergency outreach.
Beth Malio is a volunteer with Friends of the State Street Family, a nonprofit that helps unhoused people in Madison.
We came out to check on people who we know to be sleeping in their cars.
Volunteers drive around the city, dropping off things like blankets, clothing, and gas cards to help people stay warm.
I just usually try to go kind of with an immediate need. Hi, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? You want a cup of hot cocoa?
Beth says that many unhoused people stay in their cars instead of going to shelters during this frigid cold.
We always suggest it, right? Because, at least it is shelter and there is heat. But, today we definitely saw some people with their cat or their dogs.
She says that unhoused people with pets or family tend to stay together rather than being separated at a shelter.
I stay here with me and my 2 dogs. I'm going to start working back in the spring.
Jonathan Travis has been living in his car for the past 6 months.
I do construction, but people are laid off right now, and I got to figure out what to do with the dogs first. So it's just kind of been, kick a man while he's down type thing for the last few months, and it's just trying to get by.
John says he knows his friends are there for him, even though he doesn't expect the help.
He's always been super grateful and kind of surprised every time. I mean, even today, he knows us, for 6 months. But it was like, what? I can get another gas card.
It's these familiar faces that help people who have to bear the cold the most feel a bit warmer.
They're going to see a familiar face and they're going to know that we're safe and trustworthy.
Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Way to do something good there. Friends of the State Street family are in need of unused glove and thermal donations to give to people who are living on the street. Links to donate, if you'd like to help, are on channel3000.com.
The Madison Police Department says officers rescued a woman who had fallen through the ice on Lake Monona this morning. Now take a look at this dramatic viewer video that shows the moment the woman fell through the ice right there. That was about 8 this morning. Then you'll see as 2 Madison officers rush to the ice to escort her off and into a fire truck to warm up. The woman was taken to a nearby hospital with no injuries, but paramedics were concerned about her exposure to the cold. Officials say the woman reported ice skating on her shoes before falling through.
In Chippewa Falls, around 1,500 people now have their power back on after an equipment failure put them in the dark for nearly 5 hours this morning. Xcel Energy says customers lost power at around 1:30 this morning. The equipment failure led to lines falling and has been attributed to the extreme cold.
Within the first few hours of his presidency, 20 states have now joined in a lawsuit against President Trump's executive order denying birthright citizenship. Wisconsin has joined that suit. It would affect roughly 150,000 American citizens. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul and Governor Tony Evers say an executive order denying birthright citizenship is in violation of the 14th Amendment. That amendment guarantees citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, guarantees equal protection under the law and the right to due process.
14th Amendment makes clear in its language that people who are born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction are citizens. That case has come before the U.S. Supreme Court over 100 years ago, and the U.S. Supreme Court was clear that people born in this country are U.S. citizens.
Among the nearly 200 executive orders President Trump signed yesterday, there was an order to pardon the roughly 1,500 people who participated in the January 6th Capitol attack. Of that 1,500, 11 from Wisconsin have officially been pardoned for their role. The Wisconsin residents were originally found guilty of felonies and misdemeanors for violent entry, disorderly conduct, and obstruction, alongside other crimes. 5 people died as a result of the attack, and 4 officers have committed suicide in the years since.
A Columbus man who died while fighting in Vietnam has been accounted for. The Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency has announced U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Donald W. Downing of Columbus has been accounted for almost 50 years after he was reported killed in action. During a nighttime mission, September 5th, a fellow pilot saw a large fireball, and Downing then stopped responding to radio calls. Search and rescue efforts were unsuccessful, and he was reported killed in action. That was April 28th, 1978, that they were officially reported. A funeral for Downing will now be held at Arlington National Cemetery at a later date.
The Wisconsin Innocence Project says it received a $1.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Justice to reinvestigate past cases with advanced DNA technology. Organizers say the money will go toward hiring 3 new staff members. It will also allow the project to focus on cases involving Black, Latino, and Indigenous people who have been disproportionately wrongly convicted. The Innocence Project hopes to investigate 10 to 12 cases a year and to litigate between 5 and 6. There have been 30 exonerations since the 1990s through the Innocence Project.
Now to continuing coverage. Next month, Mauston voters will decide on yet another referendum to keep the school district in operation.
Our Kyle Pozorski is back in Mauston with an update.
The Madison School District has put a referendum vote on 2 ballots, failing both times. And now a third is coming up next month. Some people I spoke with say they're concerned about what a third no vote could mean for this community. One of the possible outcomes is the district dissolving. Following November's second failed referendum, Madison School Superintendent Joel Heesh informed the community of that possibility. Brett Kudik of Kudik Chevrolet says that's not something he or other business leaders want.
So if you lose people that don't want to be here because there is no school, then you also lose any kind of economic impact you could gain from a business coming to town.
He says if families have no school, they'll leave, leaving businesses to suffer.
The businesses are really tied into the school. It's going to be much, much better for the community to have a vibrant school district than it is to have none.
Realtor Brandon Lumen says the effects of closing the schools could also lead to negative effects on property values.
Is going to drop the value of the real estate in our area. And as you know, real estate and homes are one of the most valuable assets families have. And they'll look to move to communities around our area that are going to provide those types of opportunities for their kids.
Both Lumen and Kudik are actively involved in Vote Yes for Mauston Kids, a group in support of the referendum. They say February's vote will decide not only the future of the district, but that of the entire town. In Mauston, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. The next referendum vote will take place on February 18th.
Working our way through the deep freeze, Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington rejoins us. A complete look at the forecast.
And down south, they're seeing weather many down there have never seen before. We are not alone. Snow fell on Bourbon Street in New Orleans and also along the Carolina coast. We'll have that story coming up next.
And on Wall Street today, a strong showing for the Dow Jones, up 538 points. The Nasdaq jumps 126.5. The S&P up 52.5. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Among the slew of executive actions President Trump signed yesterday is one that may impact our climate.
Our Jalen Banks joins us now on how that might happen. Jalen?
President Trump signed an executive action Monday, withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, claiming it would save the U.S. $1 trillion by leaving. I caught up with one expert on the potential impacts this may have. Paris Climate Agreement is an agreement between countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions with the goal of avoiding human interference in climate change. Speaking with UW-Madison climate expert Jack Williams, he shares with me he has taught climate change courses for over a decade, and he says he's seen a major shift in how climate change is viewed.
Public opinion and awareness has really shifted on this. And so there is this interesting disconnect between public awareness, which people are mostly now convinced that climate change is happening. They're seeing the impact in their lives. They're seeing their insurance bills go up, versus the political leadership and sometimes the disinformation campaigns that go on around this.
Tonight at 6, we'll hear more from Dr. Williams on how this may impact Wisconsinites. Reporting in Madison, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
And Jalen, thank you. President Trump signed roughly 200 executive actions, memoranda, and proclamations on his first day in office.
A 19-year-old man is in custody tonight after he allegedly started a fire at the Fond du Lac office of Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman. Authorities say the fire broke out Sunday morning and no one was hurt. The congressional office is located in a strip mall. The suspect was reportedly upset about the possibility of a federal TikTok ban.
250 million Americans are under cold weather advisories or extreme cold warnings, and in some places, temperatures are 20 to 30 degrees below normal. National Weather Service says it has issued its first ever blizzard warning for 6 counties in Louisiana and 2 in Texas. This is also the first time a blizzard warning has been issued anywhere in the state of Louisiana. 3 to 6 inches of snow have already been recorded from Houston over to southern Louisiana. For a full look at what's happening in our southeast, Alex joins us now. And Alex, the folks down there, they are not used to this kind of stuff.
Not in the slightest. Of course, we're a little bit more used to it here. You give them an inch of snow, and that is significant. In southern Wisconsin is getting a big 6 or 12-inch snow. So unprecedented what we have here across the American Southeast right now, with still winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories stretching from New Orleans clear up into the Carolinas, where they just do not see snow like this. And that just goes to show how far south that cold air has gotten. We're still in the grips of that Arctic air mass, still expecting wind chills as cold as -20 all the way through Wednesday morning, and then we're slowly going to continue to work our way out of that. Current weather advisories, we have a cold weather advisories for those wind chills to getting to 20 below through at least midnight. Then we're going to start to see the temperatures work their way up. But the wind chills right now, bitterly cold, -12 in Madison, -18 in Janesville, -16 right now. That's what it feels like in the Dells. But as we take a look at the actual air temperatures, because that's important too from an infrastructural standpoint, 0 in Madison, -2 still in the Dells, and 0 was all we did today in Madison. So these were the highs. This going down as the coldest high temperature that we've had so far this winter season, and still 2 right along the highway, Verona and Mount Horeb. We got 0 up on 151 up towards Sun Prairie, and let's track this tonight here. Staying in the -1 to -2 category, right around 11. Right around midnight, that's when I expect our low temperature. And then we're going to slowly start to climb our way out of this as we head towards Wednesday. That's going to bring a little bit of snow, that push of warm air. And I got some really warm temperatures in the forecast. We're going to do that flip again from that roller coaster ride, from the bitter cold to the really, really warm stuff. Future track wind chills, -10, -15, -20 as we wake up in the morning. And then we slowly work our way out of those really cold wind chills. They'll be in the single digits to teens above zero. Still put a bit of a chill in the air, but not the dangerous stuff. Overnight temperatures tonight, again, we'll do -2 in Madison right around midnight, and then we'll start to see the mercury go up as that warm air pushes in. And no, this is not a graphic from another day. This is our graphic for tomorrow. 20s, mid to upper 20s for high temperatures, breezy with some light snow moving into parts of southern Wisconsin. Let's track it. Basketball, the Wisconsin River Valley to Madison, points to south right around 6 o'clock in the morning. Really kind of hovers in this corridor. Madison and points to the south. We get another reinforcing bout of snow after that 6 p.m. commute, which could be impacted by a couple of slick spots. There are some more of those snow showers as winds come back out of the northwest, and we briefly cool down again on Thursday. Now, our mounts right now here, I think, are a little high at this point, and here's the reason why. We've got all that dry Arctic air in place that's going to eat away at some of that snow initially. So I think a dusting to an inch, but you'll definitely want to tune in tonight. The 10 o'clock newscast will have another update with the latest weather models. And Savannah, tomorrow morning, if the snow can make it to the ground, we may see more in the range of 1 to 2 inches as opposed to a dusting to an inch. But for snow, that's it. I know a lot of folks, their livelihood depends on the snow. Farmers are wanting the snow. Landscapers are wanting some snow so that this frost doesn't keep getting deeper and deeper down into the ground. Well, at least we have, as we look out into the future, we don't have that deep cold in the forecast. That's certainly good news. By the time we get to Saturday, we'll be back up into the 30s, and we'll be back up to near 40 degrees by the end of the 10-day period. And coming up tonight at 6, we'll take a look a little bit more into this snow drought that we have and how unprecedented it is in southern Wisconsin. Nice to see this pretty picture, though, but I call this the deceptive sky. It looks really nice. Reedsburg, thanks Ramonda for sending us this photo there, but it is deceptive because it's so cold out there. All right, a little bit of traffic. I do have a couple incidents to talk about here. We do have a stalled vehicle at exit 252 Greenway Boulevard and then also on Stoughton Road. That may slow things down briefly on the Beltline. Then conditions here speed-wise, I always say the temperature, but it's miles per hour, Alex. Come on now. 73 miles per hour speed is doing pretty good in Janesville and about the same up towards the Dells, but I bet people have the heat cranked, and they will for at least another 24 hours.
All right, Alex, thank you. Wisconsin is seeing an influx of girls joining wrestling programs. We'll take you to the mat to see how a program up north is making big moves and turning heads.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Nice to see that green, isn't it? In California, 2 new wildfires are forcing people to evacuate in San Diego County. The Lilac and Paula fires come as high winds and dry conditions threaten the progress made on the other major fires in LA County. Those fires have killed 27 people and scorched more than 40,000 acres. As of today, the 2 deadly fires, Palisades and Eaton, are mostly contained. Amid the heightened risk, the LA Fire Department has firefighting teams pre-deployed.
Days after a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas went into effect, Israel is launching a major military campaign in the occupied West Bank. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the start of a large-scale military operation in the city of Jenin. Today, the military killed at least 9 Palestinians and injured more than 40. Netanyahu said the goal of the campaign is to eradicate terrorism in the city. In response, Hamas is calling for an escalation with Israel's military. This comes about 2 weeks from when the two sides are set to begin discussions about a permanent end to the war in Gaza.
Tonight, the DeForest Village Board will consider removing fluoride from that community's drinking water. The board is supposed to take up the issue during its regularly scheduled meeting tonight at 6. Last month, the village's Public Services Committee voted 5-2 in favor of removal. Fluoride has been added to drinking water across the U.S. for more than 7 decades. The mineral reduces tooth decay, but its use is backed by the CDC, the National Institutes of Health, and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Girls wrestling is gaining in popularity all around Wisconsin.
Especially in Wausau. Nolan Bowman explains why participation in wrestling is exploding in the Wausau School District.
Growing up, Maddie Lees carried plenty of fight from within. Taking part of Taekwondo and being a fan of the WWE's helped, but one influence stood out above the rest.
I saw Ronda Rousey and she really influenced me and got me into UFC, so I started watching her fights.
Amazed from what she's seen, Lees turned that admiration into aspiration.
In second grade, I had the dream of being in the UFC and start doing all this MMA stuff.
3 years in at Wausau West, Lee's taken part of a skyrocketing program.
When I came to Wausau West about 8 years ago, we had 2 girls that were on the team. They were able to grow it to 4, and then we grew to 8 and 22, and the growth is just incredible.
Becoming a foundational piece from the beginning.
Maddie's definitely been part of the building of the program. She's been wrestling forever.
Though Lee's achieved plenty, including a state berth as a freshman, she's also become an asset for her teammates.
She's very comforting for all the other girls, and she makes sure that everybody knows what's going on in all those situations. Takes a lot of time to explain things to the younger wrestlers and just make sure that everybody feels involved.
While Lee and her warrior counterparts are shining bright on the mats, she's encouraging others to help make that future even brighter.
I mean, there's times where you lose a match and you think it's the end of the world, but you just have to know that you just have to keep going and everything is gonna come out better. It's all part of the plan.
And stay with us. One final check of your first warn forecast.
Coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News, our new reporting on the sweeping pardons for nearly 1,600 January 6th rioters, including those who violently attacked police officers. We've got an exclusive interview tonight with the Capitol Police Chief. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, here's something you don't see every day, a rare winter wonderland. This is Houston's police and fire departments. They turned a snow-filled Tuesday into a snowball fight. The winner of the snowball showdown is unclear. However, the fire chief claimed victory for the fire department. If you ever see something like this in Houston, you'd never believe it. Houston police have not offered a response to who won, but both agencies say it's all in good fun.
They at least look like they have the proper winter jackets, which I'm surprised that anyone in Houston owns winter coats. Get us through this, Alex. We are
one
freezing.
More day of this bad stuff.
One more freezing day, and we can't even get any snow up here in Wisconsin, but there is a tiny bit in the forecast. First, the alert day stuff. We'll still have wind chills to -20 tomorrow morning. Wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a 2-hour delay here or there for some of those outlying communities. But we'll work our way out of that deep freeze tomorrow. We'll get all the way up to 24. Little light snow in the forecast, maybe an inch of snow. So maybe we can have our little bit of a snowball fight, I guess if we can get that inch. But that's the only snow that we have in the next 10 days. We got warm weather on the way. We've got 30s by the weekend, near 40 come next week. But at 6 o'clock, too, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the snow drought and really show how unprecedented our dry conditions are, and we really could use to get some moisture in the ground.
A lot of people's livelihoods depend on the snow this time.
Sure has been a wild stretch of weather.
It has been.
Roller coaster.
Never seen that stuff in the South either, like we're seeing today. That is something. All right, Alex, thank you. We'll have more updates coming your way in a half hour. News 3 now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.